Hi there, and welcome to today's show of Money Doesn't Have to Be Stressful. This is the weekly show for female entrepreneurs who love doing meaningful work out there in the world, but often struggle with the money piece of entrepreneurship. And I'm your host, Laura Cook, money mindset strategist. Now, on today's show, we're going to dive right in to look at why we need to break some of those money rules in order to shift from the old economy towards the new economy of entrepreneurship. Now, what do I mean by the old economy? Well, when we think about the old economy, it's really about the past and the more traditional view and traditional way we've existed and operated within the world. It's often to do with the stories that we've been told and the way we've been brought up. It may be, for example, that you're somebody who's been brought up to believe that you need to do well at school, go and get a good education, get a good degree, go get a good job that pays well so you can pay all the bills and you can safely and comfortably look after your family. Put money aside into a pension, you can have like health insurance and all these different kind of financial needs become met. You might not love what you do, but you're going to be safe, you're going to be comfortable, and you're going to be financially secure. Or maybe you are somebody who's always done what you loved, but you've always had this sense that you're never going to make money that way. And maybe other people have reinforced that, or you've seen other creatives similarly struggle like yourself. And that's why we hear an awful lot about these starving artists and yoga and Pilates teachers who are broke. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with these paths. I certainly think that for a lot of people, having a stable, steady income is absolutely vital and really important to them. And I truly respect that choice. And I have certainly supported other people who have believed that they should be an entrepreneur and set themselves up as an entrepreneur, transition back into employment because that sense of stability was actually way more important than what they could ever get out of being an entrepreneur. And it's really important that you come from a place of integrity. However, if you are somebody like me and you do see the opportunity and you do look to pursue the opportunity of what the new economy out there has to offer for us, which is a place where we can see that people are pursuing what they love and also being able to make good money from it, then it genuinely, there is a lot of evidence out there that people are doing this. And I'm not talking about sitting back and just blissfully trying to manifest thousands of pounds worth of money or doing a lot of kind of woo stuff. There is a lot of evidence that people are creating their own opportunities, creating their own businesses. We've seen the rise and the boom of the gig economy and the freelance economy. And really now more than ever, this is a genuine possibility for us. What I see as the biggest challenge as we want to transition from this old economy, this older mindset towards the new economy and newer mindset around how we create and generate money is that it's very difficult to know how do we transition, how do we really live in this new way of being, how can we embrace it and really welcome it into our lives when often we're kind of really bogged down and it's really ingrained in us, these older, more scarcity viewpoints, and this huge desire to stay safe financially and to really be comfortable and secure all the time. And the biggest thing that I see that shifts people is when you take a time to step back and you look at your actual habits and your patterns of behavior around money. And it's something that very, very few people actually do and very few people take the time to do. So if you're listening to this and you're about to do the exercise, you're going to be significantly further ahead than other people who just dive right in and don't stop to think about money and their relationship with money. And what happens when you do this is just incredible. I mean, it's like, wow, like you really start to see and get clarity on what have I been doing and why have I been spending money this way or in these particular types of things? Why have I struggled to raise my prices or to chase debts that with particular clients? Or why have I stayed hidden behind social media or not really put myself out there or put my products out there? And it really becomes really clear why and how we're sabotaging ourselves. Now, what comes up for me when I think about my transition out of the old economy, kind of into the new economy way of living and generating money is I really think back to the fact that I had quite a steady and stable corporate job. So I very much went to school, got a degree, and then jumped straight into the corporate world and had a really stable, comfortable monthly salary. It was safe, it was secure, I was building up pensions, savings. I was very aware that I didn't really feel comfortable spending money on myself, so I would very much save a lot of money or put it all to one side. But I was also the kind of person that really over-delivered and really worked really hard, really felt the need to constantly kind of prove myself in those jobs. So I very much sacrificed a lot of my time and a lot of who I am. So whilst I very much pursued this older sort of old economy view, a very traditional path myself, I very much was financially comfortable. I did sacrifice who I was and my time for this safety of a financial income. I know that when I quit, I did have this really big vision of where I wanted to be and where I wanted to go, but I knew that I wasn't really saturated in it. I knew that I wasn't really, I didn't really feel it was totally achievable, but I kind of knew where I wanted to go. And I knew that I wanted to make a bigger impact and make a bigger difference. And I ended up falling into doing a lot of charity work and a lot of work with social impact organisations. And I became quite in demand to do that work. But again, I felt that in order to be able to do good, I really couldn't charge a lot of money, and I had to give it even more time than I would have if I was working in my corporate job. And again, it kind of, the whole thing felt really like I was making a difference, but I was sacrificing the money. But more importantly, I was once again sacrificing who I am as an individual and not getting my own personal needs met and feeling fulfilled in what I was doing. So I knew fundamentally that I could have money but not enjoy my job and sacrifice myself, or I could love what I was doing, make a difference, not really have the money and still sacrifice myself. And so I knew something really, really needed to change. I knew that I needed to really rethink the way I thought about money and really develop some new rules and new thought patterns there. And so I needed to rewire myself and my subconscious and really overcome a lot of those scarcity stories. And at the time, it felt really quite alienating because it was very different to how most people I knew were thinking. But I knew that I needed to do that in order to get to where I wanted to go. And it became very empowering for me personally to really break some of those rules that I felt like I had to follow in the past and really make money a much less serious topic and much more enjoyable and feel much more like a game and something you could play with. So if you are somebody who really wants to thrive in this kind of new economy, then I really invite you to also examine how you behave around money and how you think about it, and invite you to also start to build up your own new rules and your own new patterns of behavior. And by doing that, it will really help you to stay open and trusting towards being able to receive money and retain money, which is going to be vital and critical as you transition in towards the new economy and the new way of being able to create a really good sustainable income whilst doing what you love at the same time. So in order to do this, I invite you to think of an example, a time where you have received money from a customer, from a client, where the money is being received into your bank account. And I want you to think about what is your first reaction to that situation. What is it you want to do with that money? Do you want to do anything with that money? So maybe you're somebody who wants to spend it instantly. So as soon as it arrives, it needs to go. You don't really feel comfortable with it being there. You don't feel comfortable, you don't trust yourself having the money in your bank account. Or you kind of feel like you might not get the opportunity to kind of splurge it and spend it again. And there's some sort of instant reaction where it arrives and it needs to go. Or maybe you're somebody who's kind of scribbles it away and puts it all to one side and saves it for that kind of rainy day, or you put it into savings, into pension. You need to know, you need that security that you're going to be safe in the future. Or maybe you don't even notice that a customer's paid you at all, which is also very, very telling. Maybe you're somebody who, when you look at your bank account, you just kind of freak out and it's so intense and it's so scary. And brings up a lot of pressure, a lot of judgment, and a lot of anxiety. So you prefer not to even go there and not to even look at it. Whatever it is that comes up for you, please just don't try and judge it. Don't think about it too much. Just write it down and note it in on a piece of paper, on a notebook, on a napkin, wherever you are, whatever you've got access to right now at this moment. And all of this is just really interesting and really telling information that we can get clear on and get clarity on. From there, what I then want you to do is I want you to think about what is the future relationship you want to have with money. How would you want to be reacting when that money came into your account? How would you want to respond to money in the future and in the present? And we can bring some of that from the future into your current day right now by creating some new rules and some new habits. And now you've thought about how you want to be responding to money and how you think it would be beneficial to respond in this new way of being. Is your current reaction actually aligned to that? And in most cases, I assume it won't be totally aligned to it, but it may be closer than you expect. And if there is a gap, what I invite you to do is to just think of one really small thing you can tweak, you could change, that would make your reaction or your behavior or your response to receiving money 1% more in alignment with how you want it to be. So it just needs to be something small, something little. It might be that if you save 100% of the money that comes in, maybe you choose to spend 90% and 10% of it you spend on yourself, or you do something else with, or you give it away. Or maybe if you're somebody who spends everything, maybe you choose to save 10%. You know, just as a really small little amount of change that you feel comfortable with, will over time it will add up to quite a big difference and a big impact. So I'd like you to take some time. It just takes a couple of minutes to really work through this and to just notice, are you responding towards money in the way that you want to respond towards money and in the way you choose to respond towards money? Because often our reactions are very unconscious and in the subconscious. So I'd love for you to let me know what came up for you, either in the comments below or send me a private message. I love to hear your thoughts and what has come up from you having done this exercise and listened to today's episode. I really hope it has inspired you to take a lot more intentional action towards your shift towards financial freedom and towards being successful in the new economy that is available to us today. Now, I know it requires taking a really honest and open look at where you are right now and becoming intentional with how you choose to be in the future. But over time, I promise you that these tiny little shifts that we're talking about each week will really add up to making some big differences for you and your business into the future. So if you've loved today's conversation, I know that you will also love the free training that I have created for you, which really looks at the top 5 reasons why you're not making enough money in your business. And if you'd love to dive into that, then you can do so by clicking the Learn More button, which is just up at the top on my Facebook page, just on the top right there. And you can gain instant access to watch that short video, that short training as well. So that is it for today, and I just want to say thanks again for joining me, and I really look forward to reconnecting with you next week for the next episode of Money Doesn't Have to Be Stressful. So I shall see you soon.